given that much of the COVID-19 response is being handled by central government in Wellington, in your case, Marty, or in Jackie, in your case, federal government in Canberra and also state government as well. You've got this kind of dual mandate you're working to. Give us a sense of the role local government has played in responding to this crisis and where you have seen the need for leadership in your particular patches. Marty, perhaps we can start with you.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Well, obviously there's a range of essential services that local government continues to deliver, from the two waters, the potable water, the drinking water and the wastewater, the sanitation and curbside collection, animal control, noise control, and a whole lot of other regulatory functions. And so large chunks of the organisation continue to plough on business as usual, if not intensified. At the same time, we've closed down a whole lot of public facilities, and so we have pool guards, librarians, parking wardens, basically at home, unable to do their day job. And so it's important to not only work alongside those essential services, but it's important from a human perspective to work with those that can't front up to work and do what they normally do. And look, whilst, Andrew, we might have a very diverse range of activities and services we deliver, there's one common factor, and essentially it's service to the community. And so certainly as an executive team, that's the thing that brings us together. It's that service to community and the desire to create better outcomes. And despite the fact that we're in very, very difficult situations, we need to look beyond that so that we can maintain the capability within the organisation, the motivation and drive within the organisation to be able to deliver a range of services, whatever they might be, post-lockdown, and to support the community back through a recovery phase.
Any example of a local initiative or something that you or your team have done that's kind of really impressed you through the nature of the crisis?
Yeah, well, we were fortunate that we actually had an ISL facilitated session the days before lockdown, and so already leading into the lockdown, it seemed that there'd been a degree of fracture, and we'd gone to our corners as characters, thinking how we were going to behave individually through this lockdown period. That was a great opportunity to bring us back together as a team. And so, look, we've had 2 weekly check-ins basically facilitated through the pulse of ISL, and that's really kept us close. And so we're really fortunate that as a team, we're holding together strongly. We have a common purpose, and that's really to serve and create better outcomes for the community. All our decisions essentially are framed in that.
Sounds like the ideal preparation that occurred going into the lockdown environment. Jackie, what's been your experience in terms of maintaining alignment with your team, sense of mission, and holding things together in this very sort of remote environment?
Yeah, look, as Marty said, I mean, at the City of Stonnington, we have approximately 35 different business units, and we have everything from libraries to leisure centres to statutory planning to waste management, etc. So each of those has, fortunately for us, we had a very strong strategic planning approach, really good performance management. And as Marty said, some of our service areas have really had to ramp up. So, for example, parks and garden staff and noise complaints and local laws officers have been busier than they normally are, yet we've had to stand down in other areas. So the great thing has been, because we've had strong planning and really good performance management, those that have been able to work online, work from home and get on with the job, have just been kind of going along tickety-boo with their own local leadership. And those that have needed a lot more focus, for example, aquatic leisure centres, we've had to basically stand down a large percentage of our staff there. We've had to close those services. But it's allowed those staff to really get on and reimagine and be innovative. So, for example, our library staff, we focused on them and allowed them to look at how can they be creative. And they created online story times every day for people who were socially isolated, story time for little kids. We've done performances online with our Chapel on Chapel space, and it's gone really well. So what I've tried to do is focus on the areas where there's a lot of change with the executive, and the areas that we haven't had as much change have been able, based on our current approach, to tick along, which has been great.
Has it surprised you actually the degree to which things have worked in this remote environment that you might have been sceptical about before the crisis?
Oh, exactly, Andrew. 8 weeks ago, if you'd said to me, all our indoor staff will be working from home and that I would have a call centre working from home successfully, I would have laughed at you, as would our staff. But their creativity has come to the fore, and I am amazed what they've been able to achieve. So we're running a council range of services to 110,000 residents effectively from home, and those essential services that need to be out in the road are out in the road.
Well, this raises an interesting point, I guess, of the role of elected members, mayors, and councillors, and how they interface in this environment. Because as we've spoken in previous forums, CEOs in the private sector rely on the support of their boards and so forth. But what's the role of those kind of key stakeholders in this environment, do you think?
Look, certainly. Fortunately, here in Victoria, their role is really quite clear from the state government, and they're basically told to kind of get out of the way from the management getting on with the day-to-day decisions and dealing with the crisis. But they've got a really important role to interface with the community and keep the narrative up with the community. And my council, actually, we had a 5-4 split, but they've been really terrific and come together and been highly supportive of me and been highly supportive of each other, and as a consequence, it's gone really well. So I'm pleased.
John, what have been your observations around this area?
Yeah, I mean, it's critical from a governance point of view. Having individually elected members that represent a constituency is a unique governance environment, and councillors are often will have their own agendas or the things that they're particularly interested in advancing. And but right now, the mayor and the councillors are key cheerleaders and decision makers, and I think there's going to be a big difference between those governance bodies that are that create sort of high trust, aligned and unified councils, and those that are littered with conflict, divisions and party politics. So now it's really the time for elected members to unite behind a shared vision and purpose. We've seen it at a national level in New Zealand where the stakes are much higher, so I don't see any reason why we shouldn't see that at a local level. Having said that, it's inevitable that not all will agree on every decision, not all decisions will be the right ones under pressure. But aligning to a decision once it is made and being prepared to pivot without blame when they have to is so critical. And that will ensure that they not only give the community they serve confidence, but they'll also give confidence to the chief executive and their leadership teams who have got enough of a balancing act as it is.
Marty, I guess your perspective will be slightly different because we know Tauranga has been a very, very fast-growing part of the country. I imagine that's presented some sort of financial constraints for you as well too, and some paradigms that you're having to work under. What have been some of the challenges you've faced in that area?
Well, prior to COVID, we made a public announcement about our financial situation, how dire it was. Our ability to be able to deliver our ongoing service activities and our capital program was to a degree in jeopardy prior to COVID, and so this has just compounded it. So the relationship and discussions that we're having with central government about support packages, whether it be for capital project or some sort of debt relief, is really critical to us to ensure that firstly, we have an organisation that can support the community after lockdown, and secondly, that we can continue to deliver the much needed capital program to support our growth agenda and to maintain sort of basic services. And so it is absolutely critical that we have that strong relationship and continue this discussion with central government.
Is that what keeps you awake at night? Marty, yes, I'll come to you to take Jackie, but is that what keeps you awake at night?
Yeah, well, I mean, local politics is interesting, and I think it's probably best described as difficult here. It's been really pleasing to see, from a central government perspective, the solidarity essentially to get on top of this thing. And so, we've got the tension between higher level community outcomes and the government direction, the local politics and the different agendas that are played strongly, the ability to, as an executive team, maintain a capable organisation, and obviously there's the stresses and the pressures and the anxiety and the uncertainty of staff that we need to manage as well. And so, to a degree, we've got to try and find the synergies of all of those various competing factors to deliver the best outcome.
Yeah, I think it reinforces for CEOs in particular and leaders generally is the importance of coming into any kind of crisis in the best possible shape you can. I mean, you come from whatever background you have, but the more barnacles you got on the boat, the harder it is. And all of us have to be fiscally responsible and make a whole range of decisions. But it's really hard if you're coming off a difficult set of challenges like you were outlining.